Another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the talk show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find his and her way to America in the trunk of a ship. And as always, is it Friday night? Is this
No,
Friday?
it's Saturday. It's Saturday night.
Well, I had an Accomac Nation's guardian, Lisa
Yee.
Snipes, with her. Ain't them locks flowing, y'all? Check them locks.
Just had to let them out. Let them out for a minute.
Okay, so
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be around. Hopefully, let the
no,
chat flow, let the people come on. Let's do what we do.
so listen, all we're doing here is just trying to give alternate information that we're getting from all kind of sources. What the indigenous people in America get, they get all kind of BS stuff that don't make no sense, and all
Right.
it is to confuse them. So we're just trying to give you other ways to look at it, other ways to really think about what's going on, and hopefully these will be helpful to you, and you can pass them on and share them with people that are around you who are of like minds like you are.
That's the idea.
So, uh, some of the main stories that has been in the news, or one of the main ones that's in the news that we have to look at, especially when these things happen, because a lot of time these stories are just to confuse us, to keep us scared, to keep us, in that state of mind. And one of
Mhm.
the main ones that are being perpetrated now is this shooting in the schools. You heard about in Texas, some kids got killed in a school. We have to really look at those stories and think about things that are happening. Look at all the video you can, find parents' cameras, find stuff on what's happening so you can make a decision on yourself instead of somebody just cramming the idea down your throat. What you think about that, Lisa?
Yeah, I think it is hip not to believe the media, whether it's whatever the source is, don't believe it. That's what's hip. Do not believe what they are trying to put in your face. If they trying to tell you something, don't believe it. Take it with a grain of salt. Investigate for yourself, research for yourself, and then also find out what's the motivation behind it. Like that whole thing, that young boy would had a lot of very expensive ammunition, a lot of weaponry that was extremely expensive, a very expensive truck, things that a kid should never have gotten a hold of. So I don't get it. I don't get why how he had all that stuff. That doesn't make any sense, right? So and also the other thing that didn't make any sense is that they also knew this guy had a history of having problems and stuff. That was not a stop point. Then the police didn't even come in and try to help security. Nobody was trying to intervene, and everything is sketchy. Everything is sketchy. And then you look at the demographics and you're like, Texas and their history. See, this is the thing. We talk about to a degree what's going on with us. Some of these immigrants, these Mexicans, not in Cali they'll speak up, but in Texas, no, they're quiet about their what goes on with them, and a whole lot of them died from COVID. A whole lot. The majority of the people that died from COVID were Hispanic, truth be told. And so the fact that you have these babies being shot in the school, mostly Hispanic children, mm-mm. So what is that really about? What is it? And they're not getting mad. Nobody's in the streets mad about this. They need to be. They're just happy, I guess, that they can be there. I don't know what that is about. But anyway, uh, the whole purpose is for all of us to be scared because you know what the color folks are gonna be like, oh Lord, oh let me see, we need all kinds of police security. Our police need to have super guns because they've been trying to justify the fact that the boy was outgunned. that his guns were more superpowered than the police had. So that's why they didn't want to go in. So now they're trying to justify our police having some kind of super weapons. So look for that down the road.
I mean, it's more police than him.
Right. And he looked like a real weirdo, like a really weird. I mean, I don't understand how he even made it in the doorway into the school. Like, seriously. Like, he was too young to be on the school grounds hanging out, coming into there visiting, whatever. He didn't look he looked sketchy. And then he had to be carrying a whole lot of stuff. Just like, I mean, come on, y'all. This is a lot of stuff that don't make sense. First we had the subway guy wearing fluorescent colors and couldn't hardly walk, and setting off, what was that, smoke bombs? Where you get a smoke bomb from and why? That was weird. Then you got the whole like 10 little Indians thing, which turned into 12 after we talked about it was 10. Well, anyway, after the 10 little Indians things in Buffalo, really? And they were giving out names, and now you come to find out that the guy in Buffalo invented a engine that works off of water.
It
I
runs
mean,
energy. And so, that's one of the things we really got to start thinking about. That there's things around for us to use. But if we don't think we're part of nothing, we won't even think about using it. Because this brother had been working on technology that's old. And we
right.
just don't know how to
We've
pay
been
attention,
having it.
which brings me to my point. See, I take a whole different vibe on the school shooting thing because of this only. I went to public school. They didn't teach me a goddamn thing. Why do we keep, and so I didn't force that on my daughters. So this type of energy that's out, all kind of things that we don't like to study, we don't like to think, things are out there as a nation of people to use that'll work for us. That's why we're so adamant on find your family. Who are what? Who are you? Where you come from? What did your people do? What can you do? So we can start, because these people, what they're doing is not. It has nothing to do with life, and many and a lot of us are falling into that trap. Right, Lise? You think so? No.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's true. I mean, there's better ways of doing it, but you got to have people that are willing to do the work, right? And I mean, I think a lot of things are so convenient. Everything is about convenience now. Like, we were spoiled, just not just us, but just like this whole country, this whole United States of weirdness.
Operation.
Yeah, this whole, the people call it Babylon. This whole Babylon thing is like, it's all this corporation is all about just, convenience and making you hooked on stuff, getting you hooked on something, hooked on the convenience. And so we're all hooked on the convenience of, yeah, I get to go, they get to a certain age, they go to school, I don't got to worry, they're there for whatever hours I can work, da 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 da. These are the things that happens. I mean, and they make more conveniences. So like if you don't like the particular school, then there's charter schools that you can, put your kids in a lottery or whatever, sign up for. So there are other options that are paid for by your taxes that you can educate your kid with, and then a lot of people pay for private schools, and that's not any better. Like, they're paying for people to miseducate your kid, which is also like, that's kind of absurd, you know you're these that they're miseducating them. If you're hip to what's going on, that's what's going on. So you're trying to get them to learn these tales and fables so that they can make it through this matrix of whatever, so they can go to college and then learn even less. The only things that people need to be going to school for are things that they could really be traded for. Like, used to be, you were apprenticed to become a doctor, you were apprenticed to become a nurse. These things were through apprenticeship. um, there's no reason why, if you organize yourself as a people, that you couldn't do that, bring that back, do whatever you want. It's your nation. But like I said, you got to put in the work to get that stuff cooking before you can even think about getting that kind of other stuff cracking.
So how do you
But
feel
on a
about
reality, on a small level, we can still homeschool. We can still supplement, even if you don't, you can home tutor. You can supplement their education, what have you. You could get into a get a group of people in your community, in your area, in your vicinity, in your city that have the same like minds, and maybe y'all can co-parent, co-manage, some kind of way of like homeschooling your children as a group, which later can actually branch out and become a whole charter school. I don't know. But we didn't have these kind of options. Like you went through 2 years of homeschooling your kids because of mandates and stupid stuff. So I was so surprised how fast and furiously people were ready to swing back into going to school. But I understand people were going back to work or trying to seek work, and so that becomes a thing. Even if you have your own business, you can't have your kids, running around your business necessarily, especially if you got a bunch of them. So I mean, you know there's I mean, we're not together. We're not really trying to team up and work together. There's a lot of women who just stay home with their kids and love staying home with their kids, but they could make more out of it by just bringing in more kids. Like, let's say you're in an apartment and you want to stay home with your kids. Well, there's a woman with a big old house and she got one or two kids, and you got 4 or 5 kids. But what if you go over to her house and bring in like 5 or 6 more kids at the big lady that got the big house, with the big yard and the fenced yard, the big house with the fenced yard. Then you can have your own little low key daycare, low key school at the woman who, maybe she's a lawyer or something. She's out the house, you know what I mean? But she has this big house that's empty all day, and you're in a little tight apartment. If we could do cooperative stuff like that, even on that level, where she gets to have her kids stay in the house, be comfortable. You get to come to a house that's comfortable. You get to have space and access to different toys and whatever room that you don't have in your crib. This is the thing that we need to maybe start looking at. I mean, you know what? Why we don't do this is because we tend to move away. You got people that move up with the white folks or whatever to some other, county or some other area, and then they're not really around their people that they from the hood or from whatever. But there needs to be some kind of like, we need to get back in contact with each other so we can actually network in that way. That would be a very powerful thing. It would be like when my friend from where's she from? Ecuador. She had somebody send some real ugly haggardy lady to take care of her kids. Like, she told me it was her auntie or cousin. I know. I was like, that's a slave. That's straight a slave. But she had brought she had brought this woman, and she was smart too, because Anna was beautiful. But Anna brought a ogre to come into her. She was like, I ain't bringing nothing cute around my husband. She brought an old lady, and the old lady looked like an ogre. She didn't even have nothing cute about her. Not nothing. Nothing was cute. Nothing. Not nothing. Not. She didn't have nothing cute. Not a lip. Not a nose. Not an ear. Nothing on that lady. Her body. Nothing was cute. So this lady took care. She had like 3 boys. So Anna had like a built-in. The lady stayed in like a little off, like almost an apartment, like a walk-in closet, practically, in her apartment with her 3 boys. But she was like her live-in servant. They do that kind of stuff. They be bringing people from their country that want to come over, and they be like, yeah, take care of my kids. And she be cooking, cleaning, doing whatever. And then they living their best life, because they're saving money and they're doing. We could do that even here in America, because we got people that's living in different levels. You got people that's living on the street, right? Literally, that you don't want to bring everybody in on the street, but you got people in your family, people that friends of friends, people that you went to school with. We need to start connecting with the different people on different levels, not act like, oh, they on my level. See, that's what you get. Think people not being on your level. If you stayed in contact with some of the people that ain't on your level and got contact with some of your kin that ain't on your level, so called, you could actually have these people that y'all could help each other out. You give them a better lifestyle, they give you an easier lifestyle. Meanwhile, everybody wins. You win, they win, the kids win. Everybody's doing better. Just make sure they ain't cute, I guess. You know.
That's not cool for the husband.
I had a real. She was rough. That woman. I
That's
didn't blame her though, because no, no, no. I didn't blame her. Knowing her husband, I was
did
yeah.
it work for him?
Worked perfectly. It
That's
was
all.
great.
That's all you trying to do.
Yeah.
That's all you trying to do. And that's what I mean. I mean, just thinking different things, thinking outside the box. Stop thinking that everything is going to be the what's presented to you,
Right.
because that's for you to use somebody else's stuff. You have all the resources you need with each other.
Right.
Here's something that I was thinking about as you were talking. So just imagine all the, girls who went to high school. They're
hmm
normally they're normally friends with each other. You can probably get 5 or 10 of them together just to go to a bar.
Right. To go to a bar.
That's your corporation right there, or one of them. And these are things that can be done instantaneously because you already connected to these people. So, and we're just using the child care thing as an example. But man, I mean, you have the people to do it, and it's just like you were saying earlier, just do it. And
Right.
it seems like we're not, we won't want to do whatever it takes. Man, the power that as a group of people that the indigenous people have here in America, what you could do, you're walking on your own soil. The sun is shining on you at home, and you having all these problems. No, that's because we want to have them. And I'm just saying, you got enough of us who are thinking forward, think outside the box, because thinking in the
Right.
box don't help. Come up
Right.
with a way to do it.
Right.
Everybody has that capability.
I don't understand. I don't know how these. I don't. If I had a kid that happened to, I couldn't see myself uh bringing them into another school. Like I know that if I even came close to that, something like that happened to me, I would not. And I don't think I would anyway. I think at this point, the way the world is, I would need the baby. I mean, seriously, stuff so crazy. I'm sitting there like I'm thinking like this. Shoot, your kids really? Do your kids gotta be up in the daytime? I mean, seriously, like if you work during the day, maybe y'all can have night school and shit. Your kids could sleep during the day. Then you get home from work, then y'all could have nice. I don't know. Just there's different ways of just looking at things. There's just not one way to get things done. We don't have to do things like everybody else says that we have to do them. They don't have to learn like they don't have to go to school for 8 hours. When you have only your kids, they don't need no 8 hours of school anyway. You could teach them more in 4 hours than they can ever turn because half that time they going from room to room or telling they trying to tell them to settle down or pull out this or quiet. That's all wasted time. You don't you can get it done in four. You can get it in probably even 3 hours of schooling. You can get done what they do every day for 8 hours in school. I mean, does anybody ever think about that? Like really, like, do you 8 hours? What are they really doing? You were in school. What did you get done?
Not a damn thing.
I mean, when the real learning took place, how many? It wasn't that much time of actual learning. If you really I mean, and there are companies. There's a sisters in Atlanta. They have a group where they'll come to your house and they'll tutor. I had hired them for my grandchildren during the non-demic. They came and they was doing. They come to your house and they'll teach your kids, supplement their learning, stimulate them. They got people that's engineers and all kinds of stuff. Real high. There are people that you can hire that can give you. Come on. And then if you like I said, and then if you co-op with other people, then your kids and your neighbors' kids, or your girlfriend's kids, or your cousin's kids, or your whatever somebody that you work with kids, they all can benefit from that tutor coming to whatever house y'all decide to go ahead and do your learning at. I mean, come on, there's just other ways of doing this that we should be We should be thinking about, at least considering, if you're hip to what's going on, you see this game is dumb. It's stupid what they're doing.
Right. Uh,
Desperately trying to um control the people, especially the copper color people. Let me see what
uh,
it says.
Copper Colored Tie says something that's interesting, and something I think we should take at hand. We're not progressing as a collective until we fully detach ourselves as a collective from all fluence and fluence. All we have to do is just do it. It's just that simple.
I know
And
it sounds simple, copper colored TY. But you know what the reality is? A lot of people talk and very few do. That's the reality of it. It
talk about
is, yeah.
talk about that, Lisa.
A lot of people talk, but few people do. That's the problem. It's like, yeah, everybody talks about doing this, but few people actually do what they say they want to do, or they say they could do, or can do, or you know what I mean. So we got to get to the point where we are actually doing more than we're talking, and then we can see things start to actually fly. But until we stop this with this all this like, oh yeah, we should, da, 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 we could do this. No, you got to start. You can start with baby steps. Like start with, just how you grow, or how you get your food, what things you're using in your household, what you're not going to subject your children to as far as information, or yourself to. Just looking at that, looking at alternatives for yourself as far as, you know, how you're living, and making a way for yourself to get back to nature for real. Even even if you're just in an apartment now, to start out, just to be able to have, an abundance of plants, or and be able to, learn how to filter your own water, teach yourself how to make bread, do whatever, different things that are going to make you more self-sufficient. If we're not working on those baby steps of just like, how could you, do you know how to forage, do you know what plants are around you, do you know what, are you okay with nature? Are you comfortable with animals, handling an animal? Are you scary? Are you scared of bugs? How are we gonna do that if we got people that's still scared of bugs and can't deal with a snake, or don't want to deal with, rodents or whatever? You know, you gotta, we gotta get to a point where we can do a lot of things that are gonna make us viable, you know be able to do things. It's baby steps, little things that that you're gonna need, that's gonna make your life okay, that's gonna be able to sustain you. You just need to start practicing those arts.
Yeah. So Gretchen says, how can we move as a collective? Something out of the box, because the things that have been said or the things that we've tried hasn't worked. An example would be the church. The church is
No, but let me tell you something. Okay, yeah, you can say that, but let me tell you, I have a different idea on that. Go ahead and talk about the church, because I got a different mindset on that.
so the spiritual part of you is, we will say, on the inside, right?
Mm,
That's what it is. This
okay.
this is the avatar suit, but it encloses who we really are. Everything that comes from us comes from inside. Our heartbeat, our bowels move, water goes through our belt, filter through our body. I think that's something that we're not paying attention to, because we're so fixated on what we look like, or how my fingernails look, how my clothes look. We're not paying attention to ourselves. And that's where I see that we messing up at. So when you say move, how do we move as a collective? That somebody call you polka dot, and you'll run with that for 100 years, looking at yourself every day and seeing that you don't have polka dots. So that's what I'm saying. Simple stuff. What are we doing? I mean, and these things should be learned by at least 5, 6, 7 years old. And we're just always emotional and always looking what we, and none of that shit matters. And the people who pimping you, they getting paid from it.
I think that the loss of I think the church was a great gathering mechanism. It was run, and it is run by people that mean us no good. And the religion itself is a instrument of just like, it's like a terroristic instrument. However, what that did as far as being able to go, like even when I was looking at that story about the bankers um that started those banks in Texas, uh they went to the church people. They were like, look, do you got good people that want loans, good people that want to start businesses that you could recommend to us? We don't have that anymore because people aren't going to church. So you can't be like, how am I going to get this message to the people? We don't have that gathering spot to like go to reach the people. We don't have these leaders that can actually move the crowd. They were like MCs, right? These preachers were MCs. They were moving the crowd, right? We don't have that as a collective anymore. So it's harder to get us gathered up. I actually in a little in a way, in a small way, lament the loss of that, because it was a very good mechanism for us to get people together. Now you have the internet, social media, whatever. I guess that's our new meeting house. But the problem with that is that half the time you don't know if you're really talking to people, if they're really hearing you. You don't know who's real. You don't know who's fake. It's just kind of it's nothing like us gathering in person, right?
Right. But
You have to gather in person.
right. Uh, it- That's what family reunions are for. You got parks all over there's things you can do to get together. And so
Absolutely. And
I'm not
that's what I
specific.
recommend, that everybody has a family reunion. As a matter of fact, Indigenous Peoples Weekend is when we do the summit. And this year, the Acamax are having, it's going to be a family reunion, family vacation, not just reunion, a vacation. So we're doing a family vacation. The summit I wasn't even going to do, but then I decided, I'm just still working on it in my mind. But I think on Monday I will open up the summit to the public, so that on Monday when we do, we can just go into genealogy and talk about some history and talk and get real nitty gritty with, that kind of stuff, and go on the tours. That will be Monday. And I do invite anybody to come down who wants to come down to join the Acamax on Monday for the summit, portion of our family reunion. But we are doing a family vacation, and I recommend that everybody does that. Do a family vacation. If you want to come to Virginia and make our family vacation your family vacation, you are more than welcome to do that, because it's definitely a fire thing to do. You need to get together with your family and your kin, your people, your folk. That's real important. That's a start. But also people that aren't your kin, like I said, your community, right? And how do you start? How do we start? How do we start building? You start like with baby steps, like go to your local community center. Everybody has like a little community center or a YMCA or something where you can kind of get together, put a table up, and be like, put a poster up and be like, who wants to talk about, being indigenous to this continent? Who wants to talk about, our history? Who wants to talk about genealogy? And see who shows up, or see who sticks their head in and has a question or two. It can be real simple. It doesn't have to be complex. You can set up a table at the daggone mall. Just sometimes you have to ask permission to do that, like, or in front of the supermarket, you know.
Yeah, some Facebook user said Negro preacher are engine shamans. Why that's not true, and this is what I mean. We keep getting caught up in stuff that don't make no goddamn sense. The difference between Negro preachers and engine shamans are the engine shamans came up with their version of whatever the Negro preacher's teaching. The Negro preacher is teaching something that he got from somebody else. See, when other people can come over and make you take their ideas, their religion, their ways of education, their ways of doing stuff, your ass belong to them.
But you do understand that whatever we do, we tend to still put our touches on it and remix it, because they had the preachers that had they had a whole militia going on in the South. You know what I mean? Those preachers that were carrying guns, they had daggone preachers that was what else were we doing? We did a lot of things utilizing the church. I just had it in my head, but I lost it.
I
But
understand,
yeah, I mean,
but
we remix it. We do our own thing. We do bring our own flavor. There have been good things that have been done from the pulpit. Not everything has been crooked, and not everybody has been, but the majority of them are, because because they try to toxify everything, and they tell everything, and they misteach it. It's going to make it putrid, right? It's time for us to own our own spirituality, and to own our own connection with the great one. We need to do that ourselves. It's time for that. And that's a good thing too. This is what we could do. That's another suggestion. If you want to get together, you can have like a spiritual like meeting. Like, okay, let's talk about our indigenous spirit. What was our religion? What is our culture? What kind of rituals are we gonna, look at going forward? Should we, get together and sit in front of a fire? Should we have, sweat lodges? Should we, just sit under the sun and do some get some sun in our DNA? Or should we, gather together under the moon, and whatever the heck that you want to do? But we could, connect in that manner. And now you have the ability to do that. There's meetup.com. You can create a group and connect with people of like minds through these different vehicles, whether it's social media, meetup.com, putting a poster, or just a little notice at your community center. Just gotta take the first steps.
your
you know
neighborhood coffee shop.
yep, yep, yep. Or whatever. Bookstores are another places that, like, you can kind of gather up with people. Bookstores, coffee shops. um you know there's a lot of little cultural centers that you might know of in your community, but it starts with that. Let's reach out, because a lot of people are thinking these things. They may be seeing TikToks about these things, but they have no idea how to connect with other people that are in their area, that are like-minded. And like I said, you can take the first step and just start a meetup, or go to a coffee shop, go to your Dunkin' Donuts, I don't know, your Starbucks, whatever, and sit up with a sign and be like, yeah, want to talk, Indian talk, or indigenous talk, or Aboriginal talk, whatever you want to say. But go and just see who might show up, who might vibe with that.
So this is what this conversation, what we're talking about, came out of. Could you tell us what's
Right.
happening in South Africa, Lisa?
Oh yeah, they did a march in protest to France, against France and South Africa. They told them they're basically trying to tell France to get the heck out and give us our reparations, which that should be happening all across the globe. Like, everybody should be doing that. And you got to understand that we're the reason they have this freedom. I mean, it's us, us colored people made it possible for them to be at this level where they can even, vibe like this and do what they're doing, as far as like, yeah, get out, this is our da 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 da. If we hadn't been, divesting and all these different things, and calling for all these different, you know, sanctions against South Africa, they wouldn't be in this position right now. They ain't look. You notice they ain't coloring to us. They're not. You notice they ain't trying to, like, yo, let's help out our brothers and sisters in America that was down for us and singing "We Are the World" and all this stuff. They're not looking to you.
Okay,
They
okay, so that's what I mean. That's what I mean. We can do all this stuff for
for
everybody
everything.
else, but when it comes to us doing some simple shit, we can't do it.
Hmm. I mean, timing is now. If we had some, unification, then it would be very easy for us to go to the Pope, and go to the Pope, be like, what the? go to the Queen of England during her year of Jubilee and be like, Heifer, where's all that gold and stuff you took? Where's all them precious metals your daggone great grandma was asking for? Elizabeth was asking for. Bring me the metals and shit. We got that in writing. Where's that? Where's all the precious metals that you wear all the time? Gemstones, metals, everything.
I think it's just that we just want to be what they want us to be. Because if one of your family members treated you like they treat you, you would never speak to them again.
Oh, we don't have a tolerance for that.
Right.
Ooh.
Anybody can come dog you and you just keep taking yourself and funds back to them. Why?
Ooh, you want to cut him? You want to cut somebody if somebody in your family did that?
Yeah. Would never speak. I mean, and wouldn't have a problem with it. But somebody else can come do it and you like, do it again.
Over and over.
So that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand I don't get it. I mean, explain it.
It's hip for you to be pissed off. It's hip for you to feel like, you know what? I'm fed up with this stuff. I'm fed up with them trying to act like I don't have no right to say nothing. They're gonna cut me off if I say the wrong thing. How is that? This is supposed to be the United States, whatever. You're supposed to have rights and freedoms, freedom of speech. What the world? You don't have none? How is that? When did this become okay? They tell you when to take this and do that, and take this and take that and do that. You're supposed to be just okay. When do you get mad? When do you say enough is enough and I ain't going for that? You're not going to be fitting to tell me what to do all the time. You can't tell me what to do. Period. I'm an independent person in my own land. You do not have the right to instruct me in this way, to limit or control. When do we get that kind of fire? Or when or why and it's not hip to keep going along. It's hip to say, you know what? Pump the brakes. Stop it. No more. Systematically, we have to do it. It's not easy. I know. You have to go to the daggone tax people and say, I am not paying taxes, and neither are my people that live here aren't paying these property taxes anymore. We're indigenous to this area. Is that fun for me? No. But I have to do that because it's wrong and we have to stop them. Are you going to get bump your head against the wall a couple times? Probably. But once you keep bumping into them, they're going to have to succumb to the truth, which they don't have the right to do what they're doing.
Only if we give.
You have to speak up. It's not going to change if you don't do anything. So but if you haven't found out who you are, you haven't done your genealogy, and then you haven't even found out which tribe you are attached to, you can't really start any of that stuff, right? So you got to do that. And then once you get to, this heck place that I am in, where I'm like we're trying to fight for every little right that we should have, it's exhausting. It's tiring, but you do it because it's not, because that's what you have to have. Nobody's going to hand it to you. They're not just going to say, oh, you're an Accomack. Oh, of course, yeah, you get this, that, this. Oh, yeah, and don't forget that. And you get this other right, and you get that benefit. No, you got to tear it out of their hands. You got to pull it out of them. You got to knock on every damn door and every window, and you got to call them you got to be showing up. I mean, it's a lot. Anything you want is going to be work.
One of the things we can start on now, because I see a lot of us using using these terms, Black, Native American, blah, blah, blah. This is something simple. You see how Lisa has Accomack Nation before to identify herself? Find out who your people were on that level. Find out who they were, where they come from, and start calling yourself that. All you'll be doing is ringing that bell, and they will come and assist you. It's simple. Get out of the outside of the part of the body, what everybody's trying to make up because they think they're ugly. And so since you think you're ugly, you believe you ugly, somebody's gonna come sell you some get rid of that ugly. And we know about that, don't we? Call yourself what your people call themselves. Who are they? They're the pipe you came down to get here, and you don't even remember them. You will call yourself something new. Try that
Right,
and see how that helps.
right. And to be able to, to pass that on to your family, to your kids, your grandkids, where they do that, so I know you don't like tats, but my oldest one got this bow and arrow tat on her arms with her kids' names on it. And I was like, oh, that's progress. Cause I don't know if y'all know, but when I started this whole getting the Acamax together, my kids thought I was crazy. They thought their mother had lost her and they were not happy in any way because it was change. It changes, it becomes like your whole motivation is different because you're trying to do this work that they feel like you should be focusing on them and you focusing on like a collective. That's hard, but
Yeah,
now they're starting to come back around to seeing that I'm still me and I still love my grandkids and love my kids, but it's just that I am doing this for a bigger reason, and it's for them, you know and I think they're getting it now, so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I see that. Kids, they get it because you tell them what's going
Yeah,
on, and they think you're like you say, they think you're crazy, and I
yeah,
don't say nothing.
crazy.
Then
Yeah.
just let them go. So that's why I think it's important to teach your kids stuff like, okay, so like Acamag Nation Guardian. Lisa has a little brand new granddaughter. If she
Hmm.
start learning this stuff now, can you imagine what she'll be like at 10,
Right,
11? Because she's growing up with these seeds in her head, gonna kill it.
right.
And my thing is simple. Why aren't we doing this? It's like the brother said earlier about the education. 8 hours in school for what? We can teach our kids stuff. They'll learn it. They'll pick it up like that.
Oh yeah, these kids are super smart, especially these ones come out now. Oh my goodness, they're
And so
Ooh.
we gotta be on that. You gotta do it. What we need. I mean, these people are trying to remove us from the planet.
These babies are coming out knowing how to identify everything, speaking words, everything. It's so funny. My daughter, like with the first one, she had like little flashcards. She like feels like it's a waste of time. This the baby just like be picking up stuff and she knows what everything is, identifying, using full sentences. Like it's insane how these babies are coming out. These are some super babies coming out right now. So, and my sister's like, I have a cousin that, she had broken up with a baby cousin who had broken up with her boyfriend, and then now she's pregnant again. And everybody's like, oh, she's pregnant. And I'm like, that's fine. Let's keep these super babies coming. As many super babies as we can get up in this joint. Let's get some super babies because
Now
it's
that now
just,
that's weird to hear, especially going on with all this abortion talk and all that stuff, making it seem like it'll be less on you if you don't have the baby, but it could be more for you if you have it. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, I mean, it's a complicated world because, it's not simple anymore. The fact that we don't live in like family units where it's like you put that baby down and somebody else picking them right up, you know what I mean? If that made it easy. It was like, because it was really literally the village raise your child because you lived in these things. What I would also suggest is what this one sister did that I work with, and she brought this mansion. She went out and brought this a mansion, right? And big old pool with the slide and everything in the back and huge, it's like a mansion. And she just has all her kids there and her grandkids. And I'm like, that's a smart thing to do. It's something to consider. If you have a house or you're gonna buy a house, or your kids are gonna got apartments, if you all went in and got a big mother daggone huge mansion, you know what I'm saying? And that would be cool because everybody could kind of come in on the bills, everybody could come in on whatever, and everybody also could help with the raising and the being there for the children. It would be very beneficial. Why not? It makes sense. I mean,
So let me ask you.
she knows she's a naturally indigenous woman. Like I told her about, being Indian and all that stuff. She was like, oh, it vibrated with her immediately. But she was already doing stuff that makes sense tribally. She has her whole tribe together, her little mini unit, her family is all in the same house under the same roof. That's what she wants. She's like, whatever. They'll always have this house. They'll always have a place. They can always be here together. It's big enough for everybody, you know, stuff like that.
So why do you think that's not being done as a whole, especially since all this gentrification is going on? Why isn't that
I,
look why isn't
mm,
that look like as an option as a whole amongst most of the people?
we really, we have a whole generation of people that was brainwashed into this abortion, into this family planning, and to like you only have a couple of kids, blah blah blah. The Negro people took that on hard, like they did. They took that on real, and it became a thing, right? And so now it also became a thing of everybody's supposed to go and get their own instead of everybody stays together. Why do we have to go out and everybody get their own little this and that? Why can't you stay together? Why cannot you build like that? I mean, why do what they do has to be what we do? Like that should not even be the measure of what is normal. So I mean, yeah, I mean that's the problem is we watch Father Knows Best, and what is it? Brady Bunch. We watched all these different shows, we watch these things where we got these values that aren't our own values. And we need to kind of look at it differently. We need to start looking at different ways that we could come together. And really, it don't have to be your kin. It could be close friends, or kinships that come together and build together and stay in the same household, or in the same unit, or buy like a two-family house together. There's so many different ways we could do things. That's not that. We could build, somebody got land, we could build on the land. We could get together. Like I said, you can raise the sides of a building, in an afternoon. If you lease the structure, the stick work, you know, the framing, you can frame up a daggone regular, four side building, in the afternoon. You could frame it up. I mean, there's lots of different ways to build. There's lots of different materials as well. You can use old tires and make earthship, or some of these things are they. And then if you watch some of these other European type, Caucasian type people doing it, do understand that a lot of these folk, especially the men, they make things harder than what it is. The way they do things, the way they show their videos and stuff, they make it harder than what it is. A lot of the things that you want to do, or you think you want to do, aren't that hard. But if you look at how these people show it, oh my God, you got to do this, you got to get this, you got to manage that, blah, 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 blah. Boo, no, you ain't got to make it that hard. I mean, like, I see people rehabbing trailers. I have a trailer that I rehab. I didn't do it like that. I don't work. I try to work smart and try to not work hard if I can. And no, it don't have to be as hard. Some of these people just make it really hard and complicated to where you won't even want to do it. It doesn't have to be that hard. A lot of things that you may be thinking about doing are not that bad. But we have to kind of come together and do that, and network over that, and reach out to people that are doing maybe what you're doing. If somebody's farming and you want to learn about farming, connect. If somebody has a trailer or something and you think you want to get an old trailer and fix it up, connect. Let's connect. If you want to live, you want to daggone build some kind of earth thing, or some kind of different shelter, or mini house, or little house, connect with folks. Let's do it. Get yourself some skills. Also, offer yourself up. Volunteer. You can volunteer to work with a carpenter. There's a lot of guys that know how to build stuff. They build sheds and stuff all the time, but they might not be interested in being off grid or doing anything like that. But they know how to do it. But you just go over to, like, shoot, there's a dude across the street. He daggone built a wonderful shed for my neighbor. You spend a day with him. He probably could show you how to daggone put together a shed. Come over while he's building somebody's shed. Help him build a shed. Volunteer. So that way he gets another set of hands. You get to learn what you need to do. What else are you doing? You're just sitting playing video games, watching TV that doesn't make sense, looking and listening to daggone Clubhouse and watching YouTubes. Why don't you use your time to just, partner up with somebody who has a skill set you might need to make yourself be able to do things that you want to do? You don't got to make a career out of it. You can just learn it.
I had an aunt that and you just hit on it wonderfully. So when I was younger, I would ask her, well, how come grandmom and granddaddy had all these kids? And she said, we didn't look at them as kids. And this is where you hit it. We looked at them as hands, because you have double than the kids. You had to do stuff. And the way she put it, I was like, damn, okay, I see it. They didn't look at it as a burden. They looked at it as helping,
Right.
And I always thought that was interesting, how they looked at themselves like that. And
well, I mean, everybody had to pull their weight. like the other day, my grandkids are little, but it's so funny. They pull, like, they literally pull their weight more than their weight. Like, especially the youngest little boy, he'll pick up a box. He picked up a whole pool. Like, they got this inflatable pool. It's a pretty good size one in the mail. And he pulled that whole box. He was so excited to see that thing. He pulled that whole box inside from the front of the house all the way to the back door and out the back door into the patio, because he wanted that thing set up. And when she comes home from there going getting groceries, she has all them little boys out there just pulling things out the car. They all out there pulling the bags, taking the bags in. All of them carry the bags in. So that's the way we have do it. That's the way we have done it. That's what we should do it. And they feel like they're contributing. That's what they should do. They should be helping their mom and dad out. Even the little one, she sits up there and she just watches them and make sure they're doing their. She be out there too, like, just signify what you doing. I'm watching what you doing, brothers.
So the last thing we want to talk about tonight, we talk about there's things that we can do, ways we can look at things. And we were talking about this before we came on tonight. What if we made our own Chinese food?
We were talking about that because I was talking about my cousin is in town and he wanted to get together. He says, "Very good." He loves Chinese food. I'm not personally, I'm not really, but he loves Chinese food. Like, he could eat it all the time. And I'm like, what if we were to make our own Chinese food? I mean, because seriously, to me, it could use a little more flavor. Like, it could use a little more spice. It could be a lot better than what it is. But if we were making our Chinese food, man, that thing would be. Think about how the shrimp would taste. Think about how the shrimp fried rice would be popping. Oh my goodness. Think about how the how the lo mein would be, and everything with chicken. It would be okay. That would be delectable if we did that. So I'm just saying. I mean, we need to start. I mean, a lot of people it's so funny. There's so many people that like to cook, but then when you say, why don't you open a restaurant? They'd be like, But there are kids, there are young people, there are older people that do want to do this. And there are a lot of people that have money that sit up there and don't have nothing to do with it, or I don't know what world. We need to sow our seeds in the people that have dreams also. That's another thing. If maybe you don't have the gumption to do it, but make your tacos and own pizza. Yeah, exactly.
This used to be a brother that lived by me that made his own pizza.
Right.
Best I ever had in my life.
Right. I know a brother that wants to be a pizza maker. He's like, he's fixated with that. So, I'm just saying. And we do have, restaurants in, Atlanta that are us, buy us pizza for us, buy us pizza. But I mean, we could always use some more. We could always, do it different. We could always use somebody that has another little, take on it. I mean, that's the thing. So, I mean, we need to start looking at that. Why do we have to? Come on. And if even if we don't have the energy or wherewithal, there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of young people that are interested, or older people even, second career people, midlife people that want to do this, that there's nothing wrong. There's something that we need to think about, is sowing our seeds into other people. Like, we spend money on dumb stuff all the time. Like, we buy just nonsense. People spend money on going on cruises that went on like 5 times over. Like, instead of getting that cruise off, why don't you take that few $1,000s and sow it into someone who has a dream, and let them get a food truck or something?
Somebody's going to have to explain to me where's the fun in cruises.
Oh, they're fun though. They're fun though.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna have fun no matter what I do. So I'm gonna have fun. So I mean, I can't say, maybe it's not the cruise that's the fun thing, but I'm gonna have fun. See, if there's a band there, I'm gonna be dancing. If there's whatever, I'm gonna have a good time. It's gonna be a good. And then, if there's water, I'm never gonna be mad at that. Sunshine, cool, breezes, I'm for that. Let me be out there in the stars, I'm good with that too. So I love all that stuff. So I found it to be quite fun. I'm not a shopper. Some people like to shop because there's shops and stuff on the cruise. I'm not a shopper per se, but I do enjoy the music. I love a band. The fact that I can maybe just have access to a band that I like every night, or different, and maybe a couple other different shows. Oh yeah, bring that. That's
So,
fun. I'm just saying.
if you're on a cruise, so if you're on a
I
cruise,
am it.
if you're on a cruise and you can have one band there, who would you have?
Oh, I don't know. I probably can function.
Hey, cool.
Probably
Yeah.
can function.
Okay. Well, Lisa, I want to thank you for coming on with us tonight. Sorry we've been off for a couple of weeks, but we got kicked off. So be on the lookout, because we about to move over to a whole new thing. Because when people stifle what you saying and your thoughts, they're just putting you in a box, and
Right.
I'm not with that. So we're gonna keep bringing you cold information, stuff to think about. Remember, get with your families. They're the people that know you better than anybody.
And also know that there's more to your family than the people that get on your nerves. Like, there are people that you haven't met. And once you do your genealogy and start really branching out and putting that out there, oh, it's the Johnson family, or it's the, Stokes family. And oh, I'm looking at for more Stokes that are in this area, North Carolina. You start reaching out and finding out your extended people. You're going to find a lot of like-minded people that you really vibe with, probably more than even the people you know now. So your family's a lot more than you have, right now. So the more you learn, the more you'll have.
And you're a lot more than you know. So check out your family, get with your family, find out where they're from, find out what they did, find out what their specialties was, and you have all those tools that they had.
That's in you.
That's in
It's
you.
all in you.
So I want to let you guys know. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll see you next time. Peace.